Good morning, Uganda. Welcome to this very beautiful and wonderful show that's starting off your Thursday morning on the 5th of January 2023. My name is Philomena Masco. How are you feeling this morning? I want to believe and I'm very optimistic that it's going great for you. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but this heat that is really taking the toll on us, it's quite crazy. And I stand here filled with a lot of guilt and shame because I am among the people that were complaining about the rains that had become very rampant on a daily just a couple of months ago, actually a couple of weeks ago. And we were praying to God to bless us with the sun or the sunshine. And now that it has come, clearly humankind is very insatiable, very hard to please. And every other day our changes and demands keep evolving. But hey, we will take what we are given. And this morning I'm joined by Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Good morning, Robert. I don't know if, at your place you're feeling this heat, but things are crazy. We are leaving windows open and I don't know how we're going to handle this. And these are just 4 days into the month of January. So I don't know. What are we going to do?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm very fine. Good morning, our lovely viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Now, when I look at our skin complexions, you're a bit lighter than I am. That means I observe more heat. I absorb more heat than you do. I have maybe more melanin in my skin compared to you. So for you, maybe you repel some, but for me, I get the
absorption rates are really very high.
Really very high. I want to believe. But otherwise, we are fine. We thank God so much is happening.
Yes.
You know, when there's so much news, for us in our profession, we are working.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
When
That's our joy.
That's our joy. However, I must clarify that not the bad. We don't enjoy when people are dying and accidents are happening. But when there's these funny political allegations, yesterday I saw somebody that happens to be the Lord Mayor of Kampala.
Yes.
Coming up and saying, he's a lawyer by profession, but he was able to quantify and understand that actually the roads being constructed by KCCA,
yes,
they're over-exaggerating the costs. And he will tell you these 9 kilometers of this lane cost about 90 billion. That means each cost 10 billion. He had his own analysis.
Yeah, coming out to say that 14.4 billion allocated per kilometer is, these are prices being inflated.
Being inflated. Well, I wait for technical reasoning on that. You know, the engineers, UNRA, or an independent body
yes,
to come up and ascertain. Because you see, road construction, every road is different. You know, the terrain is different.
Yeah.
When you're working on Lukulinanganda, you know, there would be hills, there would be what? The costs, it is totally sometimes a bit of compensation, enlargement, summer. So, and when you look at the region around, you'll find a flat city, you'll find a very hilly city, you'll find different materials being used for different roads.
Absolutely.
And all that. So I'm like, okay, I'm still waiting to find out if, well, that is actually what is happening.
Well, if you're wondering where this conversation is coming from, in the last couple of days, even today, I am pretty sure, there's been quite a very vast public uproar over the deplorable state of our roads here, especially for the biggest chunk in Central Division and the surrounding divisions. I mean, there is no road right now you can go to confidently and you think you will not find a pothole. And these are not just basic potholes. Some of these really, they won't leave your mental state the same. So, and KCCA listened because people are quite very vocal about this, and they do have some funds that they have put on the side to make sure they fill up or they work on these roads. And again, they've actually started the filling up process, Robert, which really makes me happy. Now, this, you could say this is the starter pack because they are now intending to actually work on the road. So the process has already commenced. So Ugandans will need to relax a little bit and you know, we rest assured knowing that things are going to be okay. But if that was not the case, I don't know where we're going to go to, because every part of Kampala, I can assure you, Robert, things are not really doing okay.
And not every Ugandan, maybe later I shall discuss some of these roads later on,
yes,
maybe. And you know if you're among the people who are going to benefit. Because not all the 5 divisions, they're going to be working on all these roads. No.
Yes.
Also, this issue that now they have begun filling potholes with the sand and what as they await to commence the construction.
Yes.
We hope it doesn't end there, and we hope we have durable roads that we shall have to enjoy. But also still interesting, have you heard of police? It's police. Police. That police has summoned police,
yes,
to come to police.
Okay, there is a tongue twister in there, but this is very interesting.
Explain what happened at Freedom City.
Yes.
On the 31st, as we ushered in the new year, and we saw about now 10 lives being lost. So among the various groups invited or people invited or summoned, actually police doesn't invite, not coming for a party, summoned to come and explain what could have gone wrong. Finally, also police is inclusive.
Yes.
So police has summoned the police to come.
This has been a prayer for very many Ugandans,
Yes.
because we actually felt that there was a bit of, you know, we had to summon police, or police had to be summoned, because if this is the category of people that gave the go-ahead for whatever was meant to happen, then why shouldn't they be summoned? And I mean, there are more other people. Even the owner of that business entity has also been summoned to police to explain what happened. So I really like where this is going, and maybe with all this we'll probably come out with the right people to apportion the blame too. But again, this is also a big lesson to very many other entertainers who are intending to have all these bivulus, all these concerts, all these events throughout the course of 2023. This is a very big lesson to learn. But also, Robert, crossing over to the east, quite some sad news coming in from there. One lady hacked her 2 children to death. Now, what happened was she was with her husband earlier in the day, but then she left him briefly, or at least she alleged to leave him briefly to go and meet up with her children back in her house. What she did, she got these 2 sons of hers, locked herself with them in the house, and she hacked them to death. Now, this is quite very sad, because the husband didn't even understand what could have happened. But when they talked, you know, the police talked to the husband.
Preliminary investigation.
Yes. He says that his wife has been having mental issues. They have been on and off. But for a while, she's been mentally stable, or at least she showed that she was mentally stable. And she was trying to flee from the scene to, you know, run into the national park, until, you know, the village people there got her and took her right to where she was supposed to be. And according to police, they said sometimes, because now they're going to have to do a mental checkup on her, because police says that there are some culprits who always use this whole mental health as an excuse to get away with crimes. But if it's true, then clearly it shows how serious mental health is. And again, this is a conversation we're having through the course of 2022. And again, I just always talk more about it in 2023, because
And
if you're
it's
seeing
very
things
sad
like this,
that this has occurred about 4 months.
Yeah.
When you had a case again of a mother who killed her children, and the husband still said that she had been having mental illness cases. Just still in early November, some gentleman actually around Kabusu did kill his son, but he has been in Butabika for treatment. So mental illness is real. 1, it is very expensive to treat.
yes.
2, there's a lot of stigmatization. Society reject. For some of the people who have been in these mental hospitals, even when you recover, those that know that you are there, they have funny names they call you. Zivako, Mwegendeze zisobola ovako, Zonto. That's these intimidative, because I can go. Mental illness is just like any sickness.
Yes.
And anybody, by the way, can wake up one day and they have developed mental issues. So if someone develops this illness, some cerebral malaria for some of the young kids, some may have accidents and they don't treat them very well. There are many causes of mental illness. So instead of saying, oh, your wire, my wire, this, that, we should end stigmatization. Second, I urge and call upon government. Let's improve these mental health facilities. You'll find that we have almost one hospital. That is Butabika Hospital. These other, how do we have regional centers? How do we have health? And when you go to the psychiatrists,
yes,
those that have their own mental clinics, sister, consultation goes to about 100,000 before you see even the doctor. There's one prominent one called Dr. Musa, I won't mention the other name. But 100, then the drugs, if there are drugs that are expensive. I'm saying this because I've ever had issues of people who have this problem.
Yes.
Mental health drugs are very expensive, and sometimes a person has to be on these drugs for quite a longer period of time. So when you don't have continuous supply of these drugs, then there are challenges that this person may recede into that situation again.
Yes.
So the drugs are expensive, treatment is hard to find, there's stigmatization. When you can't have continuous supply, you may deteriorate and go back to that situation. And when you listen to most of these people that have done those heinous crimes,
yes,
when you find out, they will tell you one thing: yali yava ku ddagala, yali yaterera, naye yabadde yava ku ddagala, yali yava ku ddagala. The family will tell you, eddagala lyasukka, it was too expensive for us to afford
it no more.
You know, then second, sometimes naye olisukka obungi. You know, I was listening on World AIDS Day for stories being told people with HIV, and they said we began by taking 17 tablets a day. We went to 5. Today a person just takes 1 tablet. But when you have like a dish of tablets, also it makes it a bit. So let's accept this is a disease. Let's treat these people. It hurts me when I'm on these streets and 99 patrols are the ones picking up people that are mentally sick.
That's true.
Why not bring ambulances? When KCCS says they're going to round up people that have mental issues, patrols ezibakwata. Like, why have double punishment?
Really, the state in which they are taken is quite appalling, but we hope that more interventions are done towards that effort. But also, something very, very interesting, Roberts. You know, when we talk about technology, I mean, what is the world right now without technology? This is an aspect we have to incorporate in all our lifestyles. You know, it could be social, it could be economic, it could be political. Everywhere technology has to take quite a stand. But speaking of technology, March 1st could be the date when we see our cars with digital number plates being rolled out here in Uganda. And I mean, this is something that the president hinted at some time back. And of course, people made follow-ups and thought that he had forgotten. But the big man still had his promise on his way. So anytime now, when it comes to March, you could probably see these cars with all these digital number plates. Now, digital number plates, basically, they'll have these microchips incorporated in them. And this makes quite some work very, very easy, especially for police when it comes to traffic control. Even if I may take you back, there was that time when we had assailants, that border assailants that were really killing people, prominent people, and other people that probably we didn't even know about right here in the eyes of the media. But with all that, if we have these digital number plates, it's very easy to make a follow-up and get all these people. Kenya is one of the countries that also intended to have this kind of technological advancement, especially when it comes to their automobiles. So when I'm seeing this coming through to Uganda, I'm very excited, Robert. I won't even lie. I can't contain my excitement.
As an advocate
yes,
of a crime-free society,
true,
this is one of the ways that you can fight crime. However, still, as a person who has followed a number of criminalities that happen, reported about them, one thing I find in Uganda, systems have challenges
yes,
in working effectively. That is the biggest challenge.
You know, sometimes we even have the resources readily available, but the systems really become very hard.
Then again, politics will come in. You remember that at the floor of parliament first?
Yes. Oh,
if
yes.
They are going to follow up opposition, they are going to do. So I pray that this is the light of day. And I pray that actually our Ugandans, for once, let's look at the element of fighting crime. You know, sometimes you can dilly-dally, you can talk all kind of nonsense in some of these things, if I may use that word, because sometimes I wonder our politicians, some of them,
Yes.
they will fight anything, however positive it is. So that's why I call it. But the day they tell you your daughter has been kidnapped, your son has been kidnapped. I've seen people who abuse police in Uganda
Oh,
here.
yes.
But we got to make all sorts of
They
things.
use all platforms they possibly
And
can
sometimes
access.
I wonder how these guys, they are loyal and dedicated to their work. After saying that in camera, the man is going to his vehicle and the person opening for him is a police officer at his home when anything happens. Now could be the police, never the police here, Uganda. I am grateful. So let's not be detrimental in some of these things. Let's support this, and fellow Ugandans, let's this time let systems work. I know it's going
Don't
to
be
take
the
a
one
long
to
time.
frustrate the systems.
Yes. No, leave alone frustrating.
Yes.
These guys always look for ways. Remember, you had speed governors.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Bana bakwata
Yes.
mu buntu ng'emmotoka ekuyitako emisinde. Stopping it as a speed governor. Those digital number plates can return something else.
But I feel like this is also a call that should go both ways, to the ordinary Ugandans, but also to the people, to the authorities that will be
Have you
in
had
charge.
a car tracker in your vehicle installed?
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Then, what happens when you want to follow up and the thieves removed the car tracker, they reached
know
this
what to
particular
do.
time, then place, and you find the car thing there for you as you come following. So,
Well, it's good morning, Uganda, but I really love 2023 already as it is. Like I said, of course, we're looking at new improvements that we're bound to come face to face with as Ugandans. So I hope that only goodness can come through, although that's right far, far away. It's just a wish. There will always be, of course, the ugly and sad news as well. But lucky for you, we are always here to make sure you are in the know of what's happening locally and internationally. Right about now, Robert is going to be giving you quite some more stories here on our Ugandan Stories. Later on, I'll be taking you through the globe.
well, I will begin with the development and politics in KCCA, where we see the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Elias Lukwago, has expressed concern over the state of roads in Kampala, asking government to improve or increase on the budget allocations for KCCA, saying these small amounts they get hinder rehabilitation of roads in Kampala. Lukwago further was displeased with the authorities' technical wing, decrying the overinflated huge size of budget passed to facilitate road construction in Kampala. He said it is in comparison with other large cities, and Uganda's budget for roads in Kampala is far way high. Moving on, still in KCCA and road constructions, top KCCA management team led by the executive director Dorothy Kisaka and the technical officials from the roads maintenance department yesterday toured the ongoing road repair and maintenance work in various parts of the city. The move comes after KCCA secured 287 million US dollars from the Africa Development Bank to maintain and upgrade various city notorious roads for the next 36 months. Now we look at the element of security, where police have summoned officers who were on duty during the stampede at Freedom City Mall while people were celebrating the New Year's Eve. Fred Enanga, the police spokesperson, says investigations are being guided by Office of the DPP and several stakeholders in the incident have been summoned. Away from that, we now look at Uganda slated to host the Speaker and Presiding Officers Conference of Commonwealth due on the 3rd to 6th of January 2024. This was revealed by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayeba, who described the opportunity to host the conference as a vote of confidence for the country and the government. Well, we now move to international stories.
We're looking at some of the international stories this morning. A night of New Year rioting and attacks on emergency services in Berlin and other cities has shocked Germans and prompted calls for a ban on fireworks and firecrackers. 41 police officers were hurt in the capital alone, and there were dozens of attacks on firefighters. Mayor Franziska Giffey has called a youth summit condemning the violence as absolutely unacceptable, and several figures highlighted the migrant background of many of the youths. But the Berlin mayor insisted the issue was more to do with the social environment in which young Berliners had grown up. It was not just Berlin that witnessed violence. There were reports of rockets, firecrackers, and even a starting pistol being fired at emergency vehicles in cities including Hamburg, Bonn, Dortmund, and Essen. Police said of the 145 arrests made during the Berlin riots that the majority were men, 45 were German, while 27 were of Afghan nationality and 21 were Syrians. Now, China's official data is underrepresenting the true impact of the coronavirus outbreak in the country, a senior World Health Organization official has said, criticizing its very narrow definition of COVID deaths. We believe that the current numbers being published from China underrepresent the true impact of the disease in terms of hospital admissions, in terms of ICU admissions, particularly in terms of death. Mike Ryan, World Health Organization's Emergencies Director, told reporters on Wednesday. The comments came as more countries are imposing travel restrictions on visitors from China in the wake of a steep rise in COVID infections in the country. Hospitals and crematoriums are overwhelmed since Beijing last month abruptly lifted more than 3 years of hardline restrictions. Now, at least 15 people have been killed in 2 car bomb blasts in central Somalia's Hiran region, according to officials and witnesses, with a resident involved in the rescue operations saying the dead included soldiers, militiamen, and civilians. The Al-Shabaab armed group claimed responsibility for the deadly attack in the town of Mahas on Wednesday. Security officials and local leaders say 2 military bases were targeted in Mahas. It is the latest in a string of attacks launched by the Al-Qaeda affiliated group since government forces and allied clan militias pushed out the fighters from the territory they controlled in operations launched last year. Now, in climate and weather news, powerful winds roared into California in the western United States on Wednesday, toppling trees as crews rushed to clear storm drains, and residents fortified their homes in preparation for flooding and power outages. California Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency to allow for a quick response and to aid in the cleanup after another powerful storm pummeled the state just days earlier. Dozens of flights were cancelled at the San Francisco International Airport, and South San Francisco schools preemptively cancelled Thursday classes for their 8,000 students out of an abundance of caution. As the storm intensified, state officials asked drivers to stay off the roads unless absolutely necessary and to stay informed by signing up for updates about downed trees and power lines, as well as flooding. In Northern California, a 40-kilometer stretch of Highway 101 was closed between the towns of Trinidad and Oric due to several fallen trees. Well, when it comes to your health again, we always have a daily reminder on what you should do. And Robert definitely is very excited to do that this morning.
Here I am with the good news that will keep you healthy. There is nothing interesting as waking up and you feel your entire body. You know, it does you bad when you wake up and the head is a bit heavy, You know, you try to move your body, you can't. That means you're not able to actually function, do what you're supposed to do, your work to make money. So if you want to remain productive and also save monies, this hallelujah banana drink juice, hallelujah ginger tea, hallelujah tamarind drink at just 1,500. Get yourself a bottle. Do that regularly, at least every day. Take any of these products. I guarantee you, you'll be healthy, you'll be fit, you'll be able to carry out all that you're supposed to do on a daily basis. Make more money, yet you're saving, because you won't be going to the doctors to spend so much on physicians, enriching them, yet you can't avoid a doctor.
Good morning, Uganda. Today is Thursday, a throwback Thursday jam definitely would come in handy, Robert, for the sake of nostalgia. And clearly, I'll be very excited to know what or who we are throwing back to in terms of the song we'll be listening to. When we get back, we have the newsreel queued up for more discussions between myself and Robert and you, our wonderful viewers. We'll be back shortly after this.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Welcome to this very beautiful and wonderful show that's starting off your Thursday morning on the 5th of January 2023. My name is Philomena Masco. How are you feeling this morning? I want to believe, and I'm very optimistic, that it's going great for you. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but this heat that is really taking the toll on us, it's quite crazy. And I stand here filled with a lot of guilt and shame because I am among the people that were complaining about the rains that had become very rampant on a daily just a couple of months ago, actually a couple of weeks ago. And we were praying to God to bless us with the sun or the sunshine. And now that it has come, clearly humankind is very insatiable, very hard to please, and every other day our changes and demands keep evolving. But hey, we will take what we are given. And this morning I'm joined by Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Good morning, Robert. I don't know if, at your place you're feeling this heat, but things are crazy. We are leaving windows open, and I don't know how we're going to handle this. And these are just 4 days into the month of January. So I don't know. What are we going to do?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm very fine. Good morning, our lovely viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Now, when I look at our skin complexions, you are a bit lighter than I am. That means I observe more heat. I absorb more heat than you do. I have maybe more melanin in my skin compared to you. So for you, maybe you repel some, but for me, I get the
absorption rates are really very high.
Really very high. I want to believe. But otherwise, we are fine. We thank God so much is happening.
Yes.
You know, when there's so much news, for us in our profession, we are working.
Oh yes, oh yes.
When
That's our
much
joy.
That's our joy. However, I must clarify that not the bad. We don't enjoy when people are dying and accidents are happening. But when there's these funny political allegations, yesterday I saw somebody that happens to be the Lord Mayor of Kampala.
Yes.
Coming up and saying, he's a lawyer by profession, but he was able to quantify and understand that actually the roads being constructed by KCCA,
Yes,
they're over-exaggerating the costs. And he will tell you these 9 kilometers of this lane cost about 90 billion. That means each cost 10 billion. He had his own analysis.
yeah, coming out to say that 14.4 billion allocated per kilometer these are prices being inflated.
Being inflated. Well, I wait for technical reasoning on that. You know, the engineers, UNRA, or an independent body
Yes.
to come up and ascertain. Because you see, road construction, every road is different. You know, the terrain is different.
Yeah.
When you're working on Lukulinanganda, you know, there would be hills, there would be what. The costs, it is totally sometimes a bit of compensation, enlargement, summer. So, and when you look at the region around, you'll find a flat city, you'll find...
Uganda, the pearl of Africa. Paying your bills the old way.
Let's go, let's go. Just need to buy some power.
Paying your bills with the My Airtel app.
Bro, there's a line.
You have the power in your pocket. The power to instantly pay your bills hassle-free. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
Oh, you're back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Four minutes after 7 a.m. here on Good Morning Uganda. Welcome to the newsreel this Thursday morning. My name is Philomena Masco. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. And this morning we're going to be having a discussion concerning our health. My health, Robert's health, your health, you, our wonderful viewers, and anybody else that could be in your community or your society. Now, when it comes to health, anybody, if you remember very well your biology, Robert, we know that blood is very essential in any person's life and also body. Now, when it comes to a national level, this is actually becoming such a very huge problem because when it comes to the National Blood Bank, they're actually very, very worried. Number one, because of the blood shortages they're registering as a blood bank. But number two, they're also worried about the low turn-up for especially the people who would be donating this blood. Now, we know that blood cannot be manufactured. That's very impossible, because if it were, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this issue. But the fact that we entirely rely on donors for people to come in from, you know, I don't know how I could actually put this in Uganda. It's just on individual empathy to come through and donate blood. Now, this is quite a very serious issue that is really hindering the blood bank. Now, according to statistics, on a daily basis, Uganda utilizes about 1,000 units of blood across the country. Now, a target that the campaigners, of course, will be coming through to make sure that they go to all these several parts of the country to collect blood through the donations are looking at. And also, when you look at the statistics, it clearly shows that every single year, Uganda needs at least 400,000 units of blood. But according to these statistics from the Uganda Blood Transfusion Services, only about 300,000 units are collected per year. Now, this is below World Health Organization standards. We need 400,000 units, Robert, but we are collecting 300,000 units. And by the way, also these 300,000 units have a very high demand. So I think you can see where the dilemma is and where our problems are. But maybe to first look at some of these issues, the scarcity issues. I mean, this is an issue we've talked about now. We've talked and we talked about last year and even for the last couple of months. And I'm sure if we don't resolve these issues, we may be talking about it a few months to come. Why are we looking at some of these scarcity levels?
Well, first I want to thank you for those statistics. And I hope our Ugandans, our audience, our viewers have heard them and gotten them properly. And when we talk about blood, fellow Ugandans, fellow countrymen, this is something we should take very, very serious. Because any of us, at any one point of time, may need blood. Some get involved in accidents. I know when we talk about road carnage, at least here in Good Morning Uganda, we've tried to do so much road safety shows. Just Christmas, we lost 55 people. And per every fatal accident that we have, these fatalities, those that survive, many of them survive because they have had blood. When an accident happens, something cuts you, lose a lot of blood. We have diseases where people become anemic and they need blood. We have our mothers who go to give birth and they die while giving life because they don't have blood. Blood is never manufactured. Blood must come from individuals. Now, when we talk about donors, these people do this voluntarily. And Philo, there is one thing I want to say, shame upon us, Ugandans, that our major dependents of blood are students in education institutions. Can you imagine? That ask the blood bank, ask the Red Cross, because they do this often. Let me even emphasize this in Uganda. Abasinga government ya Uganda n'ebitongole bikunganya omusayi biyimiriddewo ku baana b'amasomero. These are not in childbearing age.
Yes.
They may not suffer accidents, maybe so much. They are not suffering diseases that come with age and all what, but that is our biggest target. And also to commend the armed forces and the armed forces. So this is where we are, that it is a shame that a person can talk about how they love Uganda, how they love this country, how they are so much devoted and all that, and you've never saved a life. Because when you donate blood, it is evidence this blood is going to save a life.
Yes.
That's why every year, personally, and actually I copied this from Uncle Felix, we decided that how do we give back to Ugandans?
Yes.
Every year we go to Nakasero Blood Bank and we give a unit of blood. Each one of us. We've done that for now so many consecutive years. Because we said we can't talk about loving Ugandans. It could even be a requirement maybe to work in government.
Yes.
You know, for a politician,
yes.
if you're a member of parliament, bring evidence that you ever donated a unit of blood. Because you want us so much, you love us so much. It should be something we should be proud of. That we save a Kwagarana group, the celebrities, this time we give back to communities. We give back in a way of saving blood. Because the blood you're giving does nothing else apart from saving a life. So today, when the blood bank, and it is continuously, every year these people come out and plead, fellow Ugandans, come and donate blood. We're having a blood shortage. We're having a blood shortage. And it's very hard to see Ugandans. I know institutions that have had campaigns to donate blood. They bring tents, and if they have 500 staff, they go, when 50 have donated blood.
Yes.
So it is something that we've not appreciated. That, hey, look, blood is not manufactured. Hey, look, you never know when, but you'll need blood. Hey, look, the people we weep, the people we mourn, maybe that unit from you, if you share the same blood group, would have been all they needed to be alive. I know you've heard stories. Yes. You know, she bleeded until, and there's a situation it's called when a woman who dies because of
when they hemorrhage. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And we at a funeral talking confidently, but none of us is a blood donor. So how do you get the moral authority to talk about it? I think we should first understand the gravity of this problem. You know, we've developed this I don't care attitude. When you talk to someone, they will tell you, Shanja Gugula, you know, I'll go to these private hospitals, then I'll buy blood, yet blood is free. But when in Uganda people have moved away from thinking and treasuring other lives, as long as I'm comfortable, if they come to me and say we have insecurity in the area, contribute to these guys that patrol, you know, someone will say, I have my gate, have an alarm, I have cameras, I have dogs, I have a sky. Why am I bothered? Yet they're asking you give 1,000, 2,000 to enable these guys that patrol. Yes, you could be safe, but what about your neighbor who doesn't have these things? And what does it cost of your earning to give? So that selfishness, there's a spirit of selfishness that is eating up Ugandans every day. We are no longer bothered about others. As long as I feel I'm comfortable. Yes. And I'm like, if Philo is my wife, just giving an example, of course she's not. And I'm like, Kanasha, I'll fly her to Germany. I have the person fly her to Aga Khan. She will give birth to these class A hospitals we have here. How can blood be a problem? But it is going to be a problem. Because if the banks don't have blood, then it may be a problem. You could have your money, yes, but now we are talking about a national shortage. If you have your money, yes, and there is no blood, or there is shortage, money may have limits. It can't exactly give you the blood that you actually need. But we have this funny mentality that has cropped amongst us, that where you feel you're at a comfortable zone. So what is the guarantee that blood will be there? Donate blood. Yes. When you donate blood, the blood will be there because it is what runs life. You lack blood in your body, you don't survive. Well, speaking of blood shortages, again, this is not an issue that is new. Just a couple months ago, we also did see blood shortages that hit very many hospitals. It even stopped some, it put a halt to some of the life-saving surgeries that were meant to happen. We also had COVID-19 that came in the picture, and it was challenging. All of these are very many challenges. But
There is one thing I think we also need to address, talking about some of the vices in this entire chain. We've heard of stories where, there is corruption in these hospitals when it comes to blood. Ideally, blood is supposed to be for free because the people are donating, they're not selling this blood. So just in the same spirit as people are donating the blood, you give out the blood to the people who actually need it. But this business of selling blood, what's happening, Robert? I am pretty sure you've heard stories, very, very, very terrible.
Not
stories
even
about
heard.
this. Yes. You've witnessed some of these.
Until I made noise.
Yes.
And even had to put my, this small book they give you, I had to put all these strips and I said, I've donated blood this much.
Yes.
This person must get blood. You can't tell me there is scarcity of blood in this hospital. By then, not now. One of the challenges we face, like I earlier said, Philo, we've lost Ubuntu. Many of us are from the Bantu group, and this thing came out of the word humanity. Where I come from, if someone says, Ubuntu, you see, you lost that essence of knowing I'm a human being, I should care for others. A person is on their deathbed, they need blood transfusion, and you're charging them hefty money of blood you never donated. You're not selling them your blood, because you can only have a successful blood transfusion when you're getting blood when you share the blood groups. Apart from there's a universal donor in the 4 blood groups. So even if I gave blood, I'm not sure that Philo will have the same blood group. You could be O, could be B plus or something else. So that when we lost that sense, and I don't know how we can bring it back, Ubuntu, the essence of being mankind, that is where the problem came from. But also, I must say, even issues of monitoring and supervision in government agencies and bodies becomes a problem as well. Because the blood bank will assure you blood is free of charge. Government hospitals, they will tell you medical services are free of charge. But why then I call this very insane to someone who sells blood is because by the time a person needs blood, they're in very critical condition. It is a matter of life and death. It's not that this person has come with a headache, with a fever, with a dysentery, with what. A person may spend their entire life and they have not had that position where they have not reached that situation where they need life. I mean blood. So a person who needs blood is in a critical condition. And for you, you're selling this blood. But the blood bank, Uganda Red Cross, other concerned parties in this, how far have they gone to investigate this, to bring these people to book? Because these are challenges that are there. Yes, there are some hospitals, private hospitals, because in government hospitals it's supposed to be entirely free. Even the private hospitals, the blood bank centers give them this blood free of charge. They don't pay any penny. But this is what I'm told, that the facilities they use to store this blood as private hospitals, one will tell you they're not government. We buy these, we install them. So some hide under that. We pay electricity, we pay this, we pay that, to keep and preserve this blood so that you can still have the same. If you want free blood, go to a public hospital. But if you got something free of charge and it is policy, this is free, why do you sell it if you offer medical services? I mean, blood is part of the medical services to someone because you're saving a life. So, and ignorance by the public. You know, most of these things, people have not taken interest to understand that this is a free service. So, they may even pay for what is free. Ignorance. Many when they muradde bagaye mitwalo 15 mutekako musai, the family immediately begins. No, says, but I know. I'm a donor. This is evidence. Or anyone willing. And Ugandans will also have another problem, my sister. We are not interested in changing this country, in fighting some of these devices.
Yes, we actually enable them, because if they're selling the blood, and yes, I understand,
it is free.
You could actually buy it out of desperation because you want to save your patient, but then you don't have to necessarily be quiet about it. We
This
have
is
to
the
call out
problem.
some of these people.
And we've normalized it. You find Achirabo Robert, well informed, knows blood is for free, and then he will say, how much are they asking? Uganda, yafe, gun by. That correcting, we all talk about the evils in this society, but no one wants to take that extra mile to say the change begins with me. You go to police bond is free, they tell us, how much? Asabye chizike. Obaye bamanyira okulya sente. Give them, they're used to eating. No one is saying no. Let's continue. Let's do this, let's do that. I think that is also another big problem. That out of ignorance, that's why we see that this is thriving. 2, lack of supervision, monitoring, and wanting to bring to book. Because why would the bodies that look for this blood go and get it in community? Know that blood is for free, and it is being sold in such a hospital. And then you just pay, how many have been arrested for selling this blood? But also where we've become so complacent to the evils in our society, and we've made them normal, that a person is not bothered as long as for them they can afford the cost at that particular time. They don't think that there's this poor man in the village whose woman is going to come and deliver. And if I don't make noise and end this in this particular hospital, they may not have the money. Then this person is going to die. And final on this, lack of professionalism.
Yes.
Because if you're a medical personnel, and you know how critical blood is to save a life, for sure, even if you donated, where did you buy this blood from? It's God-given. Look for money in other aspects, but not for a pregnant mother who needs blood.
Yes.
And this mother is going to die. Sometimes I ask myself, but people who do these evils, how do they go back home and
They
sit?
don't have any conscience.
Yeah, and enjoy meals. A woman has died because you wanted to sell blood. They couldn't afford the money. Then you go and sit on table, have a meal with your family. Daddy, how was the day? The day was fine. I think there must be, I don't know what we can do, because we've prayed and prayed and prayed. But we must have deliberate, government must have deliberate programs to bring back patriotism. Deliberate programs followed by serious enforcement.
Yes.
That people may know how much as you are working on your mindset as a Ugandan, right from primary or nursery school, but even the laws are catching those that are involved in this criminality. Otherwise, we must speak to the moral fabric of this country.
That's true.
There is no way on earth you can sell blood to a person.
Well, while we are still on this topic of blood shortage and how we are actually facing an acute shortage of this blood in our national blood bank, some of the causes that were actually lined out are, yes, we do have our mothers that hemorrhage during birth, but also, Robert, the accidents that have been happening, especially for now, before the festive period and after the festive period. Again, it makes sense. Everything is connected. Every other day we are here shouting and making noise about accidents, drive safely. But at the end of the day, it's going to affect you in one way or another. Now, the accidents, the rampant accidents on the roads has also been attributed to as one of the main causes as to why we are seeing all these blood shortages, because definitely in an accident, it's on a very rare occasion not to have people bleeding out. And of course, if they are rushed on emergency basis to hospitals, one of the things they clearly need is blood. Now we are seeing a lot of blood going through that. And also another cause that has been highlighted, malaria, especially among the young children and also the pregnant mothers. And I mean, Robert, this is where I would really love to hear from you. Where are we coming in? What do we do? Because at the end of the day, I feel like the whole point is to make sure that we cut down on the causes, the accidents we've already seen, but now the malaria, how best do we deal with it so that we don't have to get to a point where we are actually getting all this blood out of the National Blood Bank, because we still need the blood there. There are certain emergency cases that I can't absolutely do away with blood.
Most of what we've talked about as causes are preventable. Just that there is a lot of simplicity we've made Ugandans we've come. For example, let's talk about malaria. Malaria is one of the of the major killers of Ugandans.
Yes.
If you are to analyze how many Ugandans die of malaria a day, you may be shocked. But malaria is preventable. Malaria is preventable amongst children. Government of Uganda at one time issued free mosquito nets. Sleep under treated mosquito net. I don't know how often you move in some of these remote areas, Philo. But I found someone has their bins and they are using the government mosquito net given to them so that the fishing community, some use them as curtains, others they say, I don't sleep in this government, whatever. Others, there was so much that happened there. Boiling water. You know, one of the things that sometimes annoys me with this generation that thinks they lead their land is how ignorant it is. Let's take you back to the days of people who are here 4 decades back, 3 decades back, 6 decades back, people that are now in their 60s, when they tell you their stories. Their parents, or them, they are not very learned. But you would hear, Mugale wa madidi sanga buchali. You get it, Philo?
Yes.
Sawo ruja. No, close the windows while it is still early. You know, slash your compound. Huh? Stagnant water. They would either put oil or they would not have stagnant water within their area. They had even certain things to fight off mosquitoes. And they were actively participating in these things. Look at the generation of the land. They don't want to sleep under a treated mosquito net. They're the ones they don't care. Let's go to accidents. I've always said what we call accidents in this country are usually avoidable. We don't want to take more time. Reckless driving, driving under the influence of alcohol, of course sometimes coupled with corruption of the law enforcers. Let's go to pregnant mothers. Today antenatal services are free, just like vaccination services are. But you'll find that we still have very many mothers that never go for antenatal. To look and to analyze and some of how this could be prevented. We have very many men that are not supporting their women through this trying moment of carrying this child, because there was a policy that, well, a couple should be coming together for antenatal.
Yes.
You have very many men who will tell you, what am I going to do to the hospital? So most of these causes that are taking blood are really preventable. We can at least reduce on the numbers, but we've chosen to take certain things that are very serious as a country as what we can neglect, even when government has come up with certain interventions. For example, pregnant mothers, when they go for antenatal, they will be given some, like these iron tablets. They're those small tablets they give pregnant mothers. Why? So that they can be able to have enough blood, manufacture more red blood cells, and even when they are losing blood during antenatal,
yes,
it doesn't get to that worst. Because they have had these, during birth, they have had these tablets. But people don't go, and these are free services. Those tablets are so many, I don't know, maybe they're the cheapest, that you will find they can even get them, and some are given free of charge, and they throw them away. So, we must go back and have a mindset change. Even when we have few cases of people that require blood, but the target we are supposed to collect, we are far below it, still that will become a problem. I would think anybody watching this program, as long as you're found fit to donate blood, you should be a blood donor, and a proud blood donor, knowing the impact. You pass in the markets, these guys have come, they spend an entire day, then they tell you 6 people came. 6. You go to a taxi park, institutions carry out this, then you have about 500 plus, then they tell you 20 people gave us blood. I've even ever seen, to my shock, Philo, there was one institution, I had gone there, and they were donating blood, and I saw a senior official came and said, put on me those things, and I take a picture.
Yes.
And then this person posted. I said, Jesus Christ, what level of moral decadency is this? That a person wants to say, I've donated. You pause and they take a picture, but you've not donated blood. I said, what moral, what level? So we must go back with Ubuntu. We must reduce these occurrences that are causing us to take blood from the little that the donors, those that are volunteered to give us, are doing. They are avoidable, most of them. Let's see their magnitude reduce. We can reduce accidents. We can reduce mothers who run out of blood during giving birth. We can fight malaria in kids when they sleep, in our infants, when they sleep untreated mosquito nets. When we work on what our old fathers used to do, slashing the bushes around, closing the house early, making sure they don't have stagnant water, or putting oil, or the other things you put on this stagnant water.
Yes.
These we can't avoid. But the problem is, today everyone is a politician. Today everyone is a sports analyst. Today every mother, things of value are no longer leaders, our leaders today, because most of these things had leaders directly participating in them. Our leaders today in Uganda are no longer leaders. They are business people. You know? They are business people. Issues that affect their community, that don't give them political mileage, they don't focus on them. Tell me, how many times have you seen leaders sensitizing the public about health? Lord Mayor was serious. He moved in Kawempe, he moved in Waise, telling them, but now you have been able to go to Mandela Owe and secure tons and tons of this oil that they are no longer using, that when you go to service your vehicle. That doesn't create political mileage. It is very easy to wake up and say, people, baba sente mukore ngudo mu KCCA. Of course it creates, you know, and many politicians I could mention. How many of politicians have you seen, Philo, calling upon people to donate blood, and they're also donating blood? Because that doesn't create political mileage. But you'll find leaders who will go and sit in the middle of the road, and they have hired others to pour dust on them, and then they say, ndina abantu bange, ndina abantu bange. I think we are losing direction as a country sometimes.
Well, you need to be among the donors right now. If you have the capacity to do it, well, you should. And just a quick reminder, for a man, it's very possible for you to donate 4 times in a year. And for a woman, 3 times. So please, if you can, well, go on and do it. Any blood donation drives around your community, please partake in it. And we are lucky that all these medics will always first ensure to make sure that you're in a position to donate blood. Yes, so there is nothing like you're being forced to do it. And you don't have to worry about you know, donating blood when you're not supposed to. Everything is done the right way, at least for that very specific thing we know. They will check and see if you can. Then
if you have sufficient blood,
yes, then you will be able to
ask you a few questions there, and then they will tell you you're not able or you're able. But the kids go bambit because there's like a soda and a biscuit. Of course above 18, those in secondary schools where they go to. I feel that is a shame to us, really. We can't say that our main source of blood
are the students.
Other students, for sure.
So please go and donate and show the society that you actually love it. In as much as you talk about it, well, maybe it is high time you started implementing it. And our leaders also as well, they should actually be taking the lead role in this.
Government should make it a requirement.
These MPs, we need to actually start having the blood drives there.
Remember when you talked about the vaccination certificate? Your Excellency, please. It's a humble request, sir. Or whatever, that blood, evidence of having donated blood must be a requirement. Unless you're exempted from donating blood.
Yes.
Ugandans should begin saying, where is evidence that you've ever saved a life in this country? Give us evidence.
Go and donate blood. We need to beat the shortage. Uganda needs 4,000 units per year to be donated, and again, according to the World Health Organization standards. But we are collecting relatively 300,000 units. So we have a deficit of 100,000 units. Ooh. So that's really quite a lot, and it could do a lot because the demand is high, but the supply is very and traffic updates as well. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Paying your bills the old way.
Let's go. Just need to buy some power.
Paying your bills with the My Airtel app.
Bro, there's a line.
You have the power in your pocket. The power to instantly pay your bills hassle-free. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
Oh, you're back.
Growing up as a child, I used to play the game with balls made out of milk pints, sometimes banana fibers, and at times balls made out of clothes. I had a dream to one day play for the best clubs in the Uganda Premier League, with the hope of one day representing my nation at the big stage. I made it, and now it's time to represent my nation in the CHAN 2022 games in Algeria. I'm glad that UBC TVs and radios will showcase as we fight to bring joy and happiness to the people of Uganda. CHAN 2022, live from Algeria, starting from the 13th of January, is the answer to the call of duty.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth, in the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Indeed, welcome to the press review this morning, starting off with the Daily Monitor digital car number plates to start in March. Now, government has stopped a Russian company to roll out the controversial digital surveillance car plates, and they're giving you the different types, looking at central government, government parastatal, duty-free, personalized number, and a private or public. Roadworks KCCS starts fixing potholes in all divisions. The Kampala Capital City Authority ED Dorothy Kisaka is being seen in the picture there with the KCCA manager for roads, bridges, and drainage development and other officials during the inspection of Salama Road in Makindye Division yesterday. Now, from the regional news, government delivers bridge 20 years after making pledge. Hambara youth are thriving brick by brick. How new O-level curriculum will affect learners. Farmers given heads up ahead of a dry spell. And also giving you New Year Eve Stampede, Freedom City investigation saxing 3 police officers as well. Police being summoned by police to police. Well, it's still in more news. Government reveals plans to revive land funds. Taking you back in history, today the FAO helps Uganda resettle refugees, and also Pope rejects King Henry XVIII's request to remarry. This was in 1531. Well, switching to the new vision, government stops schools development fees. And of course, draft instrument list items parents will not have to pay for. Well, President Museveni commended for skilling youth. Looking at the State House Comptroller Jen Badeche cutting cake with graduates, local leaders and tutors during the first graduation ceremony of the Presidential Initiative for Zonal Industrial Parks for Skills Development, Value Addition and Wealth Creation at Lango Zonal Industrial Hub in Liwa District yesterday. Freedom City owners summoned over New Year deaths. How Pope Benedict got caught up in Uganda's politics. Well, and also the priest who fought witchcraft and attribute to Father Brother Anatoli. And onto the second page of the New Vision, still giving you more stories on how Makerere Council wants report on convocation polls. And the last time a Pope celebrated the funeral of his predecessor was back in 1802. Sports section Daily Monitor, federations told ring fencing of fans cannot work. And Watambala Tony completes puzzle. Of course, we're looking at a reignited career, already enjoying a mini redemption at Vipers. This youthful midfielder Karim Watambala is eager to extend his revival to the national team after showing shades of potential under Jonathan McKinstry before disappearing into thin air. Looking at the English Premier League, Man United defender Luke Shaw says the belief and confidence is back at Old Trafford after a 3-0 rout of Bournemouth for a 6th straight victory. And the New Vision Sports is a 300 million Uganda shillings enough for local sports. Well, you can get the full story there. And netball dirty politics pops up in meeting as well as still. And looking at NASA, good for the ARC. Now the sweet chess victory in the Chirika Chess Open. And of course, looking at the British coach trains badminton players. Well, there's quite a buffet of sports in the sports news in the New Vision this morning. So you can get a hint of some of all of these for as long as you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor, New Vision, and the Daily Nation as well to catch up on all the stories down there in Kenya. Now, looking at the traffic this morning, I want to focus on areas of Seta, looking at areas of Namamve, looking at areas of Boyogedede, looking at areas of Chirika as well as you're headed towards town. And I will take it straight from Seta again, which seems to be quite a very busy town, all the way headed through Namamve. Namamve is already very busy as well because this is quite a main or a highway. This is we're looking at the Kampala Jinja Highway. Very many residents coming in from these areas headed towards this side of town, and looking at the traffic build-up, it makes quite a lot of sense. And over the junction here, we do have cars coming in from Chobe Road trying to join the main road. Now, you could choose to go over the bypass to connect to Chirika over here, where you'll be incurring a few traffic hiccups in there, or you could actually use the Chirika route as you go around Nambole to make sure that you join in. Now, for the most part of Chirika, it's quite busy. Looking at all these road stretches as well, we have cars coming in from Namgongo, cars joining in from Kamuli Road as well. So I could say that it's quite chaotic over there. Looking at the Chirika Road as you're joining all the way to get into Chinawataka, it's a very busy road, very heavy with the traffic. The stretches are quite long on that specific part of the road. Now, getting in as you're approaching Nakawa via Banda, right from Chirika, you'll be again expecting some traffic over there. It's clearly quite evident here. Seeing cars coming in from Chambogo route as they're joining in on the main road, and taking you all the way to Nakawa, quite a very busy town as well, busy place. We have cars coming in from Tinda Road, we have cars joining in from Nakawa Ginger Road as they're trying to make their way around this place to join the main road. And as you're sloping over there around Lugogo and getting closer to internal affairs, you'll be again expecting very many cars and very heavy traffic as well, but it starts to loosen up as you're getting closer and closer. However, when it comes to this central part again, where we do have cars coming in from Access Road, we have cars joining in from Yusuf Lule Road, we do have also cars continuing all the way from Lugogo over here. You'll be incurring some traffic, and the road stretches are quite intense, so make sure that you know which route would be ideal for you right from here. And as you're joining Kampala Road, do expect traffic over there. We do have cars joining in from all parts of these areas. Cars coming in from Parliamentary Avenue, we have cars coming in from Sidebar Avenue. We do have cars that are also joining in from the lower side of Entebbe Road, so do expect the traffic over here on Kampala Road quite busy, but it wouldn't come in as a surprise. Well, that's it from the traffic updates this morning, so make sure that you do what you're supposed to do on the road to avoid any commotion and any chaos. We have the GMU agenda that will be coming in shortly, where we'll be having some more discussions, and of course later on we'll be having the sports updates from Ruben Mpima Chibidango. Good morning.
Growing up as a child, I used to play the game with balls made out of milk pints, sometimes banana fibers, and at times balls made out of clothes. I had a dream to one day play for the best clubs in the Uganda Premier League, with the hope of one day representing my nation at the big stage. I made it, and now it's time to represent my nation in the CHAN 2022 games in Algeria. I'm glad that UBC TVs and radios will showcase as we fight to bring joy and happiness to the people of Uganda. Chan 2022, live from Algeria, starting from the 13th of January, is the answer to the call of duty.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Get away with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial star 165 star 5 star 3 hash to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Welcome to English in a Minute. From home. A parade is a traveling celebration along public streets. It's a moving party. Nothing can ruin a parade. Except, well, rain.
Jonathan, this year I'm entering Washington, D.C.'s original Song-a-thon contest.
Anna, I hate to tell you this, but... Anna! I don't mean to rain on your parade, but that contest was last week.
No!
The expression, to rain on someone's parade, means to ruin someone's good time. If someone rains on your parade, they take away your happiness. All of it. And that's English in a Minute.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Growing up as a child, I used to play the game with balls made out of milk pints, sometimes banana fibers, and at times balls made out of clothes. I had a dream to one day play for the best clubs in the Uganda Premier League with the hope of one day representing my nation at the big stage. I made it, and now it's time to represent my nation in the Chan 2022 games in Algeria. I'm glad that UBC TVs and radios will showcase as we fight to bring joy and happiness to the people of Uganda. Chan 2022, live from Algeria, starting from the 13th of January, is the answer to the call of duty.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Professional guidance.
There is no special antiretroviral therapy that is given specifically for discordant couples.
And of course, politics.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for Anita Mong and Tayebo?
That is laughable. Why would we pay when we have nominated them as SEC?
Every party has been represented in Uganda's parliament for 10 years. We only
by one MP, you yourself
and my daughter, Susan.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's One-on-One with Michael Jordan Lukomwa on UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Hey,
Paying your bills the old way.
Let's go. Just need to buy some power.
Paying your bills with the My Airtel app.
Bro, there's a line.
You have the power in your pocket. The power to instantly pay your bills hassle-free. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
Oh, you're back.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's what you feel in the gentle caress of tropical wind from the mountaintops. And the glow in your heart from a warm neighborly invite. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Happiness comes to us in many places. It's in knowing the mosquito net keeps our children healthy. The wife having the support of her husband. It's in deciding together when to have a baby. And for some, focusing on what's important right now. So what's your happiness? Make the right health decisions to ensure happiness for you and your family.
Growing up as a child, I used to play the game with balls made out of milk pints, sometimes banana fibers, and at times balls made out of clothes. I had a dream to one day play for the best clubs in the Uganda Premier League with the hope of one day representing my nation at the big stage. I made it, and now it's time to represent my nation in the CHAN 2022 games in Algeria. I'm glad that UBC TVs and radios will showcase as we fight to bring joy and happiness to the people of Uganda. CHAN 2022, live from Algeria, starting from the 13th of January, is the answer to the call of duty.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Gatawo with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial star 165 star 5 star 3 hash to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
My name is Charles Peter Maiga, the Katikiro of Buganda. It's very important to groom and nurture children into responsible citizens. But that doesn't mean that we've got to beat them up, got to hurt them. I think we need to groom our children into people who have self-worth. That will enable us to have citizens who will be responsible and who will also look at violence with disdain.
Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's GMU Agenda time here on Good Morning Uganda. Thank you for watching UBC TV, where we inspire. And obviously, we are always happy and glad that you choose to start your mornings with us alongside that cup of coffee or tea or whatever, makes you happy in the mornings. My name is Philomena Masco, and I am with Robert Chirabo. Once again, we're here to discuss issues of national concern, issues of national importance. Now, for the last couple of days and weeks, we have been crying. The public, Ugandan citizens, have been making noise in all possible ways they can, especially about the state of the roads here in the Kampala division, the Central division, Lubaga division, Kawempe division, Makindye division. Everywhere I can say that these places are all not exactly doing well. And the KCCA in response came out and acknowledged that the state of the roads is actually not really doing great. And they even gave us some new information that probably made some Ugandans to calm down, me inclusive, about how they were thinking of undertaking some of the projects to make sure some of these roads are actually sorted, or actually all the roads are sorted. And as we speak right now, they have already started on the patchwork, and mainly it's because they want for these roads to be usable in the meantime as they await the real commencement of the new construction of all these roads under the 1 trillion project that they have already secured that will be funded by the African Development Bank. But of course, we'll be looking at some of the dynamics in all this because there are very many fears. We have already seen some people coming out to oppose, and when it comes to the finances, question marks here and there. But before we get into all that, Robert, looking at the state of our roads right now, before KCCA came out to make the announcement, why is it that we leave our roads to get to a point like that? You will find a place that has humps, Robert, but in the humps, there is also a pothole. Okay, these are two problems in one. Why do we have to wait for our state, the state of our roads to get to that? But why does it have to get there first before we can actually come through, before things really go down south?
I love that. Why must we wait? First is lack of finances.
Okay.
I'm just going to give you an example. KCCA budget, much as it improved from Kampala City Council to Kampala Capital Authority, the budget improved. But the monies allocated for specific work are never enough. So they don't have enough money. Financial year 2023-2024, we are looking at collecting about 49 trillion. You're looking at about borrowing, that is 6 trillion to finance our budget, because we may be able to finance about maybe 28.8 trillion. That is what we can locally collect.
Yes.
But when you look at that budget, the money we are talking about, you may find that maybe we have about only 22 trillion for services provided. Next, I'm talking about the next financial year, about only 22 trillion to work. The rest goes on salary, what. So even when the national budget is big, how much of that national budget is going into service delivery? One would say URA collects, even in the first quarter, it surpassed its target and collected more money. But at the end of the day, you can only cut a coat according to your cloth, the piece of cloth you have. So we've had budget constraints. That's why even the roads that they are going to work on, we had to borrow a loan of 287 million US dollars.
Yes.
From the Africa Development Bank. If we had money here, we wouldn't go to borrow to fund this project. Many Ugandans, when I talk about if we had money, they would say, but we have money. If you look at our resource envelope and try to break it, that is why I've told you have a budget of about 49 trillion. And out of the 49 trillion, you're not able to entirely fund this budget. You have to go and borrow about 9.6 trillion. For you to be able to get and out of the 9.6 trillion, you have to borrow locally, about 1.5 trillion from home banks here, domestic borrowing. Then the rest are going to be foreign borrowing. They will have concession and concession loans. So we do not have enough money. That is why these roads go to this state. Look at most of these water channels we have done. KCC has been able to do. Most of these are money from World Bank, they are donations. So it is lack of sufficient funds that make our roads get to this level. Coupled, because you may not have the money to do it, but also coupled with, one, the terrain. People forget that Uganda is a swamp. Kampala is a swamp.
Yes.
If you remember very well, of course today, you've spoiled this city. We used to say Kampala a city on how many hills, if you remember?
7 hills.
7 hills?
Yes.
So, when you have a hill and a hill and a hill, and your city is in the valley, what does that mean? This is a wetland. Go to most of these arcades we are talking about.
Yeah.
Dig just 30 meters underground. Water springs up. And when you have poor drainage channels, plus poor planning, you're going to repair a road today. Tomorrow there is stagnation of water. If this continuously happens, definitely this road is going to be destroyed within a very short time. And you're going to have budgets all the time, repairing roads, poor drainage system, human activity, encroachment. Today you find a brother seeing a swamp area, brings maram, puts a building there. Now the water which would have gone, now is scattered on the tarmac for a very long time.
Yes.
Vehicles are moving, there is water and friction. Then whatever was put there is eroded. So when you look at lack of enough money, poor drainage system, poor planning, these all make our roads in the state at which they are. So it makes it very hard for KCCA to say our #1 priority, because KCCA has a number of things they do. We have clinics or hospitals, whatever I want to call them, under KCCA.
Yes.
There are a number of other areas. The roads are very vital because we move on them every day. But the budget they are given, if they are to say that let's have 90% of our budget go to roads, then there would be disaster.
Yes.
So those are some of the factors that are making our roads in a state in which they are today. That is why we had to first secure a loan for us to say now we can work on a number of roads, because we've been able to get a loan. All these drainage channels, I know very few that KCCA has used money given to it by government to work on them. Most of them are donations.
That's true. Well, now there are very many worries that are being expressed again by the general public. One of them is that even the current patchwork that is being done, people do believe that some of these potholes are being filled with soil, but these are again allegations that the ED of KCCA came out to trash and said, listen, we cannot do that. Actually, what we are filling these potholes with is a mixer of marram, and I think they called it stone base. So it's not just a soil. Again, just to put that to rest. But also another worry. She says it's not soil. It's like, no, there is quite a bit more technical than that.
I've seen these punches along Salama Rukuri.
Yes, and actually she was saying this while she was, I think she was inspecting the construction works that are happening over there in Salama, because it's one of the roads that really needed intervention, serious intervention. Yes.
Maybe I should cease trusting my eyes. But what I see, yes, I see Samta.
Yes.
Let me go local. That these guys come, then they kataka. They have this.
There's a way
they cut. They have triangular.
Yes.
After cutting, they clean. This is what I see. Have something, they remove the dust there. Then they palate it. For me, I'm seeing.
Maybe it could look like soil, but it's not actually soil.
Or sand, but it's not even quality marram, because I know marram. Then they put there. Then after. They pour a little bit of tar. They pour, then they seal and go. Now, even if it is for sure repairing, and just if they do it today,
yes,
3 days when it has rained, that thing is back. But I think the problem here is wanting to be everywhere, and then you end up being nowhere.
Nowhere. Yeah, that's true.
You know? This is the challenge. You have a limited resource envelope, but the burden is so big. Now what do? You decide that let every area be worked on. And that is why we lack durability. Because if we said, okay, we are doing this temporary repairing, let's have quality marram.
Yes.
Let's have the volume of tar that we are putting there strong enough. You get it? But I equate this to a poor man who has a family and he cannot afford fish. So he goes for Mukene and says, every child has eaten a whole fish.
Yes.
Because you've bought them silver fish. So this is what is happening with KCCA. The burden is so huge. The resource envelope is so little. And instead of saying, let's select a few and we work on them seriously, they're trying to see how with a little resource envelope, they can scatter it for everyone to get. And this is problematic. I know you love taking milk. If you have a number of visitors in your home, and you don't say let the kids take milk, but let everybody take milk, some are going to take color. Some are going to take color. Some of us will say ganamata siganywa. So this is the challenge that KCCA is facing, because you have so many roads, you have very little money, and you decide here there is noise, here there is noise. Let's just give them. I remember during Chugam here we saw roads. So when you make this temporary repairs, you've left Salama Road today, then maybe you've gone to Chitezi to do the same. As you're still completing Chitezi, Salama has gone back to the same scenario. I think there is something there that...
Well, still speaking of the worries, and which we have already started to see, this money, okay, there are very many worries that this money is not going to do what it's supposed to do. But to break it down, KCCA secured funding from ADB, that is the African Development Bank, of 1 trillion shillings specifically to work on this project. And Honorable Chisaka, the ED of KCCA, says the roads that are going to be constructed, because we have a total of 31 roads that intended to be worked on, totaling up to 69 kilometers all in general. Now, she says the roads that are going to be constructed, they're going to be wider, number one. Number two, they're going to be expected to have a better drainage system. Number three, they're going to also be having street lights. This is one of the things she talked about. And she says with all that into consideration, these roads should be able to, you know, to be operational and functional from about 15 to 20 years. And the budget, again, was strictly put out there, and she broke it down. But the worries already, we have seen the mayor of Kampala already, that is Arias Lukwago, saying that some of these prices have been, and costs have been inflated. For just every kilometer to take about 14.4 billion Ugandan shillings is just not it. And again, we have seen very many scandals where KCCA has been fully involved, Robert, you know, maybe because the money was not used for what it was supposed to do, corruption cases. And again, these are the same sentiments that are being shared by the public. Yes, the money is there. We see the work is supposed to be done, but how certain can we be, you know, basing on what has been happening in the past? How different is it going to be this time around? Are we actually going to see these roads? Because the construction is yet to commence, I think, next month. Yeah. So the trust issues are very many, Robert. But would you blame the public for having all these trust issues?
First, I'm not going to interest myself in the words of the Lord Mayor.
Yes.
Arias Lukwago. One, as a professional journalist, I will look at authenticity. I've known the Lord Mayor as a politician and a lawyer. So, if it is an independent body that came out with these allegations of reports of costs, or if he could give us an independent source, apart from saying compared to other cities, because when the technical people explain, they'll tell you maybe why. Like I talked about the geography of the area. Other places, they may have different geographical structure.
Yes.
You're talking of constructing roads in an area which is swampy, which is a wetland almost entirely. So maybe another city is not like that. You're thinking of construct, even the cost of purchasing equipment.
Actually, just maybe, if I may cut you short, KCCA said they're actually working with very many other agencies and ministries, like the Ministry of Water, because most of these potholes are actually caused by water piping, according to what she said. So when you talk about the geographical setting of this place, clearly there are very many other parties that are going to be involved in all this.
Yeah, so when we look at costs that because other cities spend this amount, as we spend, there are many technicalities that technical people can explain. Why maybe in Rwanda, which they usually want to quote, or maybe in Kenya, the cost of constructing a kilometer of a road may be cheaper compared to Uganda. We may be a landlocked country, they are not. So maybe they easily get these materials, because not all that we have all is manufactured here in road construction. We may look at the personnel maybe also needed. So there are many other factors, and I don't want to base on information of a politician. But that said, I cannot rule out the cancer that is eating Ugandans. That I cannot rule out. That yes, Ugandans we've accepted to live, we've welcomed corruption.
We have accepted the bare minimum.
Yes, and we know. Now I want to say this openly. When KCCA issued these roads, I want to ask my producer if they can give us that, as we are discussing, that people can get to know
roads that are meant
the roads
to be
that are going to be worked on. If we can have that displayed on our screen. Why? That is going to help Ugandans to know. Because the corrupt in this country use ignorance. I am aware I've gone to functions where they invite a guest of honor as their area member of parliament. Then he accepts to come. He comes very late. We clap. We've waited for 2 hours. You're a servant of us who elected you. So, if Public trust is built on transparency. And this is the challenge. However, I'm happy that government has taken some measures. For example, the PPD Act. There is what is required of any government program to have. You've talked of the roads that are going to be worked on. We were assured that in the next 36 months, they're going to be working on these roads. 36 months, they're going to be working on these roads. We are assured the money is there, the loan from the Africa Development Bank. The roads are there. So, under PPDA, you're required to have a billboard. Would I call it a billboard? I know if you've seen on some of these sites. Who the contractor, the road you're working on, the duration, and the amount. So that people may understand this is a road. KCCA is the client, either it is dot services or whatever services. This is the amount. This is the time this road is supposed to take. This is a Maram road. So if we can have the public have this information very well, but unfortunately most of the information is hidden from the public. Two, the public must also interest itself. When you hear of a loan, you're going to pay this money. Fellow Ugandans, this is not a grant. It is a loan. You, your children, or even your grandparents. So you must interest yourself to see that there is value for money. LCs, where these roads are going to be made, community leaders, you must by now know what kind of road is going to be made. If they have said they are going to
accountability, yes.
But the problem is we've not interested ourselves in, and this is how this will get the opportunity to steal this, to be corrupt. You go to a hospital, National Medical Stores tells you that when we are delivering these drugs, the LC must be there. They sign all this. Now when they come and you're not there. So there's this laissez-faire way to be in Kwatako. KCCA is working on a road.
And you move on.
And you move on. They live in these communities. For you buy a hammer, a jeep and whatever, you're comfortable. But that is, so all these problems we are talking about, in my opinion, the corruption, the hiking of costs of working on these roads, I don't know among the roads mentioned here that there is any where there is not an engineer, because these are city roads.
Yes.
If we may, you will go through them very fast, I think, later on. These are city roads. And when we look at these city roads, I believe they are working on roads in communities of civilized people. They are engineers, they are experts there. To what extent have you gone as far as whistleblowing? The media, we are here. If they have said, why for me I have some faith. I've seen roads KCCA has worked on.
Yes.
I want to tell you, I witnessed KCCA working on the road from Zambia, around Zambia Hospital, all the way to Rukurinanganda. The light, it was lit. The drainage channels are there. It is good tarmac. So, and a few that of late they have worked on, I have confidence. Quality.
Especially the roads that have been worked on under the, is it the KIDIP2 project?
Yes.
I think those are some of the roads you're talking about. We also have the stretcher road in Tinda. It is a beautiful road, and honestly, I want to believe that if all the other roads follow the same, yes.
The drainage channels are there. I think, for me, I feel we should move away from lamenting and complaining. What have you done? Because let's accept, okay, we have thieves in government, if that is what we want to say. Because that is the common talk. Someone sees you're working, you be, government. You sweat, you work. Okay, let's accept they are thieves. But you, what have you done to save your money?
Yes.
You go to this village or you buy your construction, they tell you, what have you done to protect your house not to be stolen? We have very many councillors, very many politicians, very many. What has been your role to find out that what nature of road is KCCA going to construct in our area?
Yes.
What have you done to ensure that much as KCA is going to put that billboard I've told you, that shows the road going to be constructed, the kilometers going to be constructed, which company is going to construct, because this is not KCCA Roads Department is going to construct these roads. They don't have the ability to do that. They are going to hire, they are going to give out this company, so they even show the company that is going to construct this road. There's so much that shows. So you as a responsible citizen, what have you done? If someone can tell you today I'm going to walk to work, and I see you borders, you run away from your work, market people, you go and escort a person going to work. You spend the whole day in running battles with the police. Then why is it hard for you to interest yourself and say, UBC gave us information that they are going to work on this road. Let's make sure we have the quality road that we are supposed to get as Ugandans. But we've pointed blame, apportioned blame, and moved away from our responsibilities as Ugandans that love our country. And we're going lamenting because it's easier to lament. It's easier to point blame. But you have a responsibility as a voter, as a taxpayer, to play your role in fostering accountability of some of these programs. We have so many elective positions. I see how people crave to be leaders. The people fight just being chairman LC1. Being councillor, they box themselves. But when it comes to enabling government, push for this accountability, we don't.
Well, maybe just to take you through some of the roads that are part of the KCCA 2023 plan for them to be constructed, and we're looking at the overall coverage, drainage, and everything that goes in all that. We do have Wamala Road, which is in Lubaga Division. We have Mutesa 1 Road, Old Mubende Road, Canon Apollo Chivebulaya, that is the Albert Cook Road, is still in Lubaga. We do have Bulange Junction, Chigala Road. We do have Muzito Road, Mogema Road, Masiro Road, Sentema Road, Kasubi Northern Bypass, Kabega Road, Kayemba Road, Suna 1 Road, and Suna 2. Kabalagala Junction, now this is in Makindye Division. We have Nsambia, we have Salama Road, Luafu Road, Port Bay Road, Old Port Bay Road, and Spring Road. 5th Street, 6th and 7th Street, plus 8th Street in Namongo. We do have Sa Apollo Kagwa Road as well. And also talking about Queensway, including the Chibuye Junction. We do have Chebando Ring Road, Chisasi 2 Road, and Chitezi Road. 31 roads, 69 kilometers in total that are meant to be constructed in this project.
Has given you the road that is going to be constructed, where it's going to be constructed, the kilometers that are going to be constructed, when construction is going to begin.
Yes.
Now, giving this information is power. For you to call for accountability, much as we call upon people in these positions to be ethical, to be people with integrity, but even you as a citizen, you have a role to play. My only concern though, and I know the executive director is watching because we're supposed to be with her in this show.
Yes.
And the PRO Kasiati, they are watching. Is time factor. Yes, you know, there could be some natural calamities that may come in here.
That's true.
Most of the time, they don't meet that deadline. Yet these constructions have inconveniences. There are going to be load diversions. You get it?
I mean, that's one of the things that people are readily and mentally getting themselves ready for.
The road is worked on forever till Christ returns. You've said for the next 36 months. Can they be the next 36 months?
Because according to what they did give out, according to the plan, the last road, which is Chitezi Road, at least the latest date is September 2023, on which they will be starting construction. So the other commencements will be over there in Feb, and the last month is September actually.
So can we have this done by September? Because they infringe on people's businesses. I want to tell you, when a road is being constructed, sometimes the retail shops around, those that have carpentry, those that may earn a living by selling a number of things around, they can't work because there is road equipment, the road has been disorganized. Then also where the diversions are, There are challenges there. Jam and all that. Then even when they're digging up, doing all this, you know, sometimes it becomes more muddy, it becomes, so can they meet the time deadline? Then the other issue comes at the quality. Madam Idi, you told us they are going to last for 15 years?
Yes, 15 to 20 years.
15 to 20 years.
Yeah, well lit, wide, good drainage. We shouldn't be expecting, you know, the floods. Every time it rains, people have to worry about the traffic, which route to take. I mean, we're here giving traffic updates and we're giving diversions. We don't want that nonsense.
So we hope these roads, the material you're going to use, that you considered even high in case prices go high, that you're going to have roads that are durable.
Yes.
Also the factor of security on some of these things. I don't know who steals these lights. Because I keep on asking myself, if KCCA lights an entire street, which ordinary thief comes and can climb this pole? You know, they have solar batteries.
Yes.
The modern ones they're having. And then steals these batteries. Hey, someone comes at night, and for example, the stretches we are talking about, they're not very isolated. And sometimes I'm tempted to think, are they the people in maintenance who come and don't replace? Because an ordinary thief. It is, some of these things we are tempted to think it's an inside job.
Yes.
So they should factor in the issue of safety of the installations they are going to make. Culverts. Person who can come and load this thing, you park your car and take it. It may not be that very easy. So security factor of what they are putting in these modern roads that they are going to, we are told they are going to be modern.
Yes.
So how do you factor in security? You light a road and then in a period of a short time, there is total darkness. Durability of these lights plus other things you're putting in. In Machinde, they put traffic lights and people were excited.
Yes.
In a short time, I don't know what the lights indicate. They can all put on green, and then last time they spend weeks there off, and is it electricity? They seem to be, you get, how durable? Are we buying equipment that Ugandans call China? Or we must have things that are durable.
Yes.
Because road infrastructure, then not forgetting road signage. It's also relatively important. You come up with a good road, there is no proper road furniture. So let's have durable things. Let's have security factored in these roads. Let's complete these roads on time.
Also, one another thing, Robert, is the maintenance. Have you seen roads where there is actually grass growing through, you know, some of, I don't know if they are ridges or whatever it is. You will construct that road at the start. It's going to look very beautiful. It's going to look nice. We will love and enjoy driving on it. But if it's not maintained, honestly, I don't think it's going to make it to the 15 to 20 years. And I feel like that is still, again, some more work. We don't have to wait for the potholes to become as deep as graves for us to start maintaining the roads. I feel like the earlier we notice, regular maintenance is very important and necessary in all of this. So I want to believe that even in that budget, there is money that has been allocated specifically for the maintenance.
Let me tell you,
so now what's the relevance of us having these roads constructed and we are not even looking at the maintenance
Chisaka, most of the time saying, KCCA gets a very tiny budget for maintenance. We must call upon government to increase the budget for maintenance. That is why maintenance is sometimes, I must say, is poorly done. Much as we may say we put on we use cheap materials.
Yeah.
And maintenance, so it is in the circle. The budget for maintenance, I remember one time she said, if it doesn't come late,
yes,
if it's that, it's very minimal.
But
for the work needed.
Yes.
That is why I look at what we use for maintenance. Philo, today KCCA maintains a road, and how do they maintain? They work on those small potholes. The way they make punches, then bring
and
soil, whatever material you said.
Yes.
They use, then they bring
the stone base and
liquidator.
Yeah.
Because I know that black that they put on the road, and it is able to hold the stones or whatever they have put down. Because in road construction, the little I know, I'm not technical, but what I've seen, and some of my friends who are technical, what they have been telling me when I'm interesting myself in these stories, is that black kind of liquid has to be a bit semi-solid, because it is what holds whatever they have put on the road, is what holds it together. Then they bring these other machines that squeeze and ensure.
So it's not expected to be runny or...
When you bring that is as hallelujah juice, and it is what its capacity to hold together what you've put becomes a problem. So when you have limited funds, you're bound to have that. You'll go for the cheapest, or for you to be seen as doing some work.
Well, their budget was standing at 10 billion Uganda shillings, and they did say that they're going to ask government to expand it to actually 1 trillion Uganda shillings.
Them, but they
Me,
have
Robert, I don't
solito.
have a problem with that. I just want to see it doing what it's supposed to do. If actually government listens to their plea and they expand it all the way to 1 trillion Uganda shillings on an annual basis, every financial year budget, and they have 1 trillion shillings, Robert, we shouldn't be seeing this rubbish we see on our roads. We shouldn't be complaining. We shouldn't be seeing roads that, you know, they've edged in, okay? The soil has done, and the water has come in and washed the soil into the road, and then it keeps being eaten in.
But also you people, you have a role to play.
Yes.
Ugandans have very funny habits. What do you make of a person who KCA stops constructing because you're constructing in a water channel that is going to lead to clogging?
Yes.
And this person chooses to construct at night when KC staff is sleeping. You get
and
it?
they eventually come back the next day and break down the build,
Yes, and then
the
the
construction.
person, and then they go to, but someone goes to court for something that is inhuman, you know. So then our behavior, the driving, today you have these guys of Subaru, I don't know.
Well, Mark X has taken over these
No,
days.
do you know how these Subarus, they're spoiling roads. What do they call it when they are driving? And every weekend.
Donating, I don't know whether it's called donating.
Every weekend.
Yes.
They have their club, the Subaru family. I have nothing against them. It is good, make money on a Subaru if you want it. But be responsible.
On the road and everywhere.
Go to this
anyway.
Munyonyo roundabout. Go to Wise. They make it a habit. They come, then you hear speeding, spoiling the road. Look at our border people. He's driving, then there's a technique. Then you see fire on the road. A person is taking iron bars to his site.
Yes.
But he's loading
and they're
them on a car.
dragging them on the road. Yes.
So even us, we have a role to be responsible. Look at how you do away with your rubbish. A Ugandan may dodge paying for his kasasiro, then waits at night or when it is
and
raining.
dumps it in the road.
In the middle of the road. You get it? So, you look at a V8, they open the boot, then he cruises. You're like, but Heavenly Father, you give this person brains to work hard and purchase this car, but he can't have, you know, just out of sanity. So we also have challenges. The way we build, how we fight KCCA enforcement, the way we behave. A person is driving, you look at the car it is coming from, and you're like, but to be honest, even if this car is big enough for you to keep this, and at least drop it when you get to a safe place, in your home. So our mannerism, someone is upset over something, then it's cheering. We've blocked the road. We are lighting fire in the middle of the road,
burning the tires and all of that. Yes.
Then an honorable member of parliament or someone in opposition, whatever, abantu banyise tusazeho tuoche oluguudo tuzibe oluguudo, and the journalist, of course, we put our cameras there. Some of these things. Then at the end of the day, you're crying to KCCA, to government. Our roads, we must change our mannerism as citizens also to be more responsible. Some of these roads, their spell of time they should have lasted. It is us. A person builds, then all the sand is running and clogging this road.
Yes.
Like government here to Yambe.
I've seen also some roads where, you know, the drainage that is put on the side, people are dumping trash there. So how is the water actually going to run through some of those
Not forgetting stealing. You're also good at and I'm very...
Sometimes Ugandans will frustrate us.
Someone says, even when they're working on these roads, you go, you visit someone. I need to KCCM compound. How did this get here?
And I mean, they're labeled. Yeah, they have all these encrypted.
You want? He goes to the companies that are hired by KCC to construct these roads.
Yes.
He's buying them cheaply.
Good morning, Uganda, over here. And we were talking about KCCA as an authority. They're embarking on drainage and roads construction for most of these roads in these divisions. Central Division, Kawempe Division. We do have some roads in Akawa Division as well, Makindye. So 31 roads, 39 kilometers, and the funding of the African Development Bank, 1 trillion Ugandan shillings. Commencement is in Feb, although they've already started on the patchwork right now so that the roads are a bit functional. It's too bad that we can't wait till February. So we hope that the answers are granted to our prayers. And this year, yes, it will be a little bit inconveniencing, but at the end of the day, I want to believe that it will be worth it. Well, I hope only goodness comes out of this. This money is used efficiently and the right people do the right job. And we are happy as a country. We need to move on to the next problem, honestly, Robert. We can't be crying about roads every now and then.
I hope you're saying you pray. And indeed you pray.
I do. I do. You see, you cannot feel how serious it is until you hit that pothole and you're like, Lord, I now see why people are making noise about it.
And some of them have even been the causes of accidents.
Absolutely.
You're dodging a pothole, you find another driver, it's head on, you hit the other.
Because everyone is trying to find a safe section for their car.
That also Ugandans may develop public responsibility about government programs.
That's true.
I want to tell you, the level of moral decadence we've gone to, soon you're going to see traffic lights in homes of people.
The security lights.
Traffic lights, there is red, there is green.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in this discussion, but it's still ongoing on our Twitter. Let us know how best we can support KCCA, but also you as an ordinary Ugandan citizen. What can you do? What is your responsibility in all this, especially when it comes to the maintenance? The construction, you may not really have a lot of work to do there, but maintenance, you contribute a lot either to the progress of the maintenance, or you could actually be one of the reasons as to why our roads are the way they are. We do have the sports updates coming in just a couple minutes from now with Ruben Mpima Chibidango, and of course allow me to Igwe. Well, allow me to wish you a wonderful and productive Thursday. I am Philomena Masco. Good morning.